5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We are live, guys. We're live. Ellie lace some pipe. They brought me back, man, from the brink of disaster. I was completely hating the show, hating it. but they brought us back. My name is Jason J. Daniel. You're watching the Jason J. Daniel Show, and I'm here doing a recap of The Last of Us Season 2, Episode 5. I've been totally down on this show until tonight. They brought me back. You're going to like this one, guys. You're going to like this one. Sorry, guys. I had to do a sound check. Hey, guys. My name is Jason J. Daniels. Let me get rid of this this graphic here on top. So here's the recap tonight. Season 2, we're in The Last of Us. I got to tell you, this show has been killing me, man. It's been super, absolutely brutal. It has been a shock to me at how bad it's been. A lot of it had to do with the fact that they had written Pedro Pascal out. We didn't realize it until, obviously, they started the season. So they wrote him out like one of the best actors right now of, working. Honestly, one of the best actors working. He's a fantastic actor. He brings a different character to everything he does. And they took him out. Now, clearly, we knew that was going to happen. Everybody knew it. That's part of the video game plot. You guys know how I feel about that. But it was what they had to do. Okay, so I get that. And they made the change. They surprised us. They hit us hard with it. What was it, like episode 2 or something? It was episode 2. So they hit us with it. They took him out. And my concern was, can Bella Ramsey hold this show without the star power of Pedro Pascal? Pedro's a really huge star. He's got Fantastic Four coming out. I just saw the trailer for that. That looks really good. I'm a huge fan. So it was hard for me to see him leave the show naturally, right? Probably hard for you too. His death was super brutal. And they gave us a couple of like 2 episodes or something where they didn't really revisit it. We didn't see the Junior Fireflies, the guys that did him in. We haven't seen Abby since that episode. No Abby tonight, but we get Abby close. Okay, we do get a little Abby close. So there's your preview. I started out really down on it when I was watching it. I'll be honest with you, the first half was just fucking boring. And they did, dumb dialogue. They did the whole LGBTQ love story thing. And I'm okay with that. But again, it's an action show. So I'm watching it for that. I'm not watching it to learn tips on my video games. I'm not watching it to watch a romance. I'm not. Now, you can throw romance in. You can throw that kind of love story in. I'm okay with that at the right times or to serve a purpose. So anyway, tonight they kind of moved that story into a purpose, which was good. There's no Jeffrey Wright was out. We had Josh Peck last week. No Josh Peck. So they're seriously confused on what they're doing on the casting. They're trying too hard. They have too many moving parts. I'm going to give them a mulligan on that because from minute 27 on, just fucking good. Action was crazy good. They surprised us with the smart ones again in the warehouse. Ellie makes another sacrifice. We had a surprise in that moment. Really good stuff. I was like, I was surprised. When I'm surprised and I don't see something coming, I kind of saw it coming. But even if I see it coming, just do it right, man. Surprise me. Do it unique. And if you can do it and surprise me, then I'm going to stand up and I'm going to shout. I'm going to cheer. I'm going to point at the TV. I'm going to clap. That was good, man. I get into it. I love TV. And that's why I'm really hard on the show. So we started out with, now sub to me. My name is Jason J. Daniel. Follow me, IG, Snap, Rumble. I'm on, obviously, TikTok. I have 2 TikTok accounts. I have one for TV and movies and one for sports. We're just going to talk about the TV and movie account. So we'll talk about that a little later on. Again, my name is Jason, and I'm doing reviews on this. I do all sorts of different things on my podcast, but on Sunday nights, we're doing this. So if you're new, I appreciate you joining me. Now, this is a film study, so I'm going to break down the show. I'm an actor, and I'm studying script writing, so this is a study for me. So I break down the show like scene by scene, character development, writing. I look at the scenery, the juxtaposition of the bad guy, good guy, that kind of thing. So this is not a video game matchup, right? And I'm not trying to sell you on the show. I'm being critical. This is a critique. So if you are a super duper fan of the show, and you're watching this, and this is the first time you've watched me do this, I'm going to warn you, I'm not going to make you happy if you're a fan of the show or the video game, because I'm not a fanboy. I'm watching it for the television quality. I'm watching it for the production quality, for the acting. I want to be moved by a story. Okay, so I'll break that down and explain that to you. So just remember that. So don't get upset at me or send me nasty messages, what a lot of you guys on TikTok do. If you don't understand where I'm coming from when I tell you a scene doesn't work, or it's stupid, or it's low IQ theater, or it's preposterous, I'm being honest about the quality of the television show that we're all paying money to watch. Look, if you're not paying for the subscription and you're watching somebody else's subscription, shame on you. But if you're, or maybe you're watching on your mommies and your daddies or whatever. But this is an adult show made for adults, made by adults, and adults are paying for this. So if you're a teenager watching this, or you're watching this clip somewhere else, because my clips do go all over my social, just watch your mouth, watch your language. Don't attack me for who I am. Don't personally attack me. If you're a child, don't bully me, okay? And not that I have a problem with it, but I want to be clear that this television should bring us all together. And this video game thing where you guys are so concerned about the video game matching the television show, it is a divisive thing to think. It creates it just creates animosity for people that are just immature. And I'm going to be honest with you. So don't be mad at me if I'm telling you what you need to know, because this is my show, my feed, my opinion. There are people that agree with me. In fact, we're going to get into the recap, but this is what I do. I do a little breakdown. Follow me, Epic Film Talk on TikTok. Now, I only have a small amount of followers because it's a new TikTok account. I'm just talking really fast. I gotta get to my drink because it's a new TikTok account for TV and movies. But I have thousands of people on my sports TikTok. So if you go to Epic Film Talk, you can find my sports TikTok, and I do all sorts of sports stuff. So there you go. So I'm not an amateur at this, guys. I've been doing this for years. So follow me on TikTok for my movie stuff. But let me just break this down a little bit. I've been getting a lot. We'll get into this. I've been getting a lot of negativity from the TikTokers. You guys are bullies. It's crazy to me. And I can tell if you're like a teenager or if you're immature because the way you bully me. And it's really weird because this show is supposed to be inclusive because there's an LGBTQ storyline. In the first season, there was a gay couple storyline. This show is about inclusivity in a lot of ways, right? But a lot of you guys are completely like bullies about it. If somebody criticizes that they don't like the storyline because they're not into that LGBTQ lifestyle, that's not a bad thing for those people to say that. Everybody can have their opinion. So just chill out and don't be a bully. And that's the one thing that I'm seeing all over social media. I'm seeing it on different websites where I'm looking at comments, and people, if somebody's putting the show down because they think it's trash, because it's really shit right now. Up until this episode, it was shit. And that's honest. It's 60% of the people watching it are downplaying it. And it's not just because of the storyline, the love storyline, or you can call it the woke storyline, whatever. If that's your word, it's fine. But it doesn't matter why they don't like it. It's television. You cannot like it. It's art. Okay? So for you that have been watching my clips and you're angry at me because I told you the Take On Me guitar scene was stupid last week. Everybody thought it was stupid, guys. Most people did. So I just want to make it clear. I want to bring all of us together, but you guys need to really just get the point that if you really love this story for all the different aspects of the inclusiveness or the alternative, love story, Just be inclusive of people that don't like it. Win people over by not being a bully. Explain to them where you think they're wrong. And that's what I do. And you'll see that on my reviews. And I guess I'm preaching to you guys. I'm sorry, but I posted one of my clips on TikTok that I'm just being me, right? I got so many hateful comments that TikTok blocked, and it was from people that were calling me names for my age, making fun of who I was, me personally, making fun of me, like attacking me personally. And I'm like, okay, well, I didn't criticize the LGBTQ love story. In fact, I said it's fine with me. Just put it in the right spots, make it make sense. Any kind of love story, you have to make it make sense. Have you ever watched a James Bond movie? They do have love in it. They have sex. They have love, but it makes sense. So any action movie, any television show, anything you portray, whether it's sex, violence, drama, it has to make sense to the story. Don't insult the people paying for it and watching it. So I don't. But it wasn't just that. It was me having a problem with the fact that it's not a video game; it's a TV show. So because I had an opinion, I've got all these hateful people on TikTok. Now, TikTok's got a lot of bad. It's like the YouTube comment that's trash. And look, you can say what you want to me. I'm just telling you, understand you're missing the point. If you're thinking people that are criticizing the show are not respecting the show, then you can't disrespect those people back and expect them to, agree with you. But most of you were just mad at me because I thought the guitar scene was actually stupid. I thought the video game scenes being jammed into the show just to do it, to make the fans happy, to me is dumb because it's not the fans watching it. It's people that are trying to be fans. Does that make sense? Yes, the fans are watching it, but your mommies and daddies are paying for it. Sorry, most of you guys are teenagers playing these video games. And if that makes you mad, just grow up. Come on, man. We all have our opinions. So follow me. You probably already turned me off. Trust me, I'll get to the review. So usually I do about 20 to 25 minutes of just kind of talking about my thoughts and feelings. And then we go to the actual breakdown. So I actually break down each scene and tell you what worked and what didn't. I'm an actor. If you haven't read my bio, I'm an actor. I've worked on big sets. I've worked on small sets. I've worked on independent sets. I've worked on videos. I've done behind the scenes and in front of the camera. So I do have experience with this industry. Okay. So tonight now, okay, I'm getting a little itchy. Sorry, it's a thing that goes on for me. Now, after all that I said, after everything I said, you might be thinking that I hated the show tonight. I didn't. Now, I hated it until about minute 27. And then it just really got cooking and was still kind of dumb, but then bam, it just hit us hard. And the scene where they go into like the warehouse area and they get surrounded by the smart ones was really scary, and I loved that. It was well done, really creepy. They whoever's doing that stuff, they got it. Whoever's directing that stuff, and they did show that there's in behind the scenes. I watched it after because there's always the behind the scenes. They showed that they do have a special effects. I'm sorry, a special director for the action scenes, and they showed him, and he killed it, man. He really killed it. So I was really happy to see that. It was cool. They did a lot of different things in the action. It really moved really fast. And the way I felt was because the first half was just the boring love story stuff again, and them just making dumb choices, and the dialogue was dumb. And a lot of talky that they were just trying to like fill in the gaps. And I get it, but still bad writing. That's bad writing. If you have to catch up and have a scene where we're like, the exposition, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And the reason why they can't hear us on the walkie-talkies is they're too busy doing this. Do you know why this, like, they had a scene where Dina was explaining all the loopholes in the plot. And I was like, okay, well, clearly somebody read this and like, we got to explain these loopholes. And that's what I had been complaining about for the last 2 to 3 weeks is there's just a lot of loopholes in the plot. And even if it's an action show and a fantasy, you have to have rules that you ground things into. Now, they pushed the envelope a little bit with that, but I was okay with it because it made sense to where they were going. And there's also the thing called suspension of disbelief, right? And suspension of disbelief is we know we're watching something fake. But if it's that good, it takes our mind out of it, and our mind will adjust to the new rules, and our mind will enjoy what's being written and what's being put on video. The mind will go cool. It'll click in, and it'll be so entertaining that things won't take you out of the flow. And that's why we watch what we watch. That's why we pay the big bucks for these folks. Good acting keeps us locked in. It doesn't take us out, right? So it's a whole collaboration: acting, lighting, writing, script, casting, wardrobe, music. All of it is really consequential to the end product. So I just expect a good product. This is HBO. HBO is the leader in best shows ever. Two of the best shows ever made. Some people could say more of them. Uh, Game of Thrones and Sopranos. Sopranos first. Those are HBO shows. HBO broke the mold, and everybody tried to follow what HBO did. So you expect really good production value from HBO. Even House of the Dragon, which is a really not a good show, is better than this show, better than season 1, and much better than season 2. So there's something to be said about that. What is the difference? And I've explained to you before. I'll explain it to you again. The difference is these writers are video game guys trying to cater to a video game crowd, and it doesn't quite work. But tonight it did. And I think they got some really good TV writers in, honestly, because some things went down. I was like, that's really good writing, and saved it for me. So I was feeling super depressed. I was actually way depressed on Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day, by the way. I was really way depressed to watch it. I was like, I got to get depressed here. I'm hoping, that I'm not going to be completely annoyed by this show tonight. And I was stand by. I got to do my sorry, I have to do my own production, guys. I'm all by myself here. So anyway, my point is that I was really impressed with the second half. It made me happy. Okay, so 4 stars. I gave it 4 stars tonight. Now, first tonight, let's do. We have our bubbly here, sparkling water. We're gonna have a drink tonight. We always have a drink, so we got our bubbly, and then we're gonna do what we've been currently doing is frosty bottle here of there we go, New Amsterdam. There we got to get a focus on it. This has been our bottle we've been doing. I didn't bring my jiggler, darn it. Okay, so we're just gonna freestyle this motherfucker here. What do you think? That's pretty good. That's a good shot. All right, we'll start with that. We have to. I didn't bring my water. I think we'll be okay. Here we go. Cheers. Happy Mother's Day, and for 4 stars, good one tonight. So that's good. A little more of this. So I was getting to a point where I was rooting for the cordyceps. This does not work. I was like, I want the cordyceps to just eat these fuckers, man. I went into it going, hope cordyceps win tonight. I was really rooting for the cordyceps. Now it was boring. Okay. So I gave it 4 stars, but it was boring in the beginning. The plot was confusing from the jump. They did this whole, we'll talk about it, but they did a scene where they have 2 people talking about like nothing, and I'm like, I don't know what they're talking about. But they explained it at the end, which is dumb. Just explain it early. So now it's in the air. It is the cordyceps juice. So cordyceps juice is now in the air, which I thought that wasn't a thing they were going to do, but now they surprised us with it. They said, so I'm like now you're doing the obvious, because like in real life, spores, okay, like plant spores, in the air, baby. That's why we have allergies, okay? No, I'm not a doctor, but I just, pretend to know what I'm talking about with cordyceps. I've been watching the show enough to know about cordyceps, but it doesn't work to just get a bite like a zombie bite. So they have turned it, sorry, the bubbly. They have turned this into a zombie show. So that's why I call it a zombie show, because they went away from the rules of the cordyceps world, which, could be unique, and the whole cordyceps in your mouth or whatever. And if you move a cordyceps into somebody's mouth by a kiss or whatever, but they just started passing over that this season. It's like just zombie bite, chomp, chomp. Weak writing, right? So they realized that was, and I got to say, the cordyceps thing is very confusing. And if you're like, and if you tell me it's not, you're lying to yourself, because it's a confusing plot that you have plants taking you over and the whole. In the first season, they try in the very first episode in the plot, the pilot plot, the plot of the plot of the pilot is that they explain it's like a cordyceps can make a bug a zombie and that's what they're doing. Okay, but still they're using the word zombie. It's a zombie show. They tried to do zombie a different way. It's fine, it works. I do think it's preposterous, but I'm in the world, so I'm not going to judge that. But the one thing I did judge is like cordyceps juice is not in the air. Come on. And they even explained that in a behind the scenes, I think, in the first season, or like a wrap up or something, because HBO has but like a lot of different behind the scenes things they do where the creators are talking about it, like they did with, they started that with Game of Thrones years ago. So they do that after every episode. And I think they did like a prep one for this, like a recap. Yeah, it was a recap for the whole season or something. Or maybe it was one of the episodes I watched, and I was because I rewatched the season. But anyway, they established they were going to do that. They actually said that on one of the writers said, "Yeah, we're not going to do that. It doesn't quite work because then everybody would be infected, right?" Which is what would happen. The truth is, you wouldn't have a show. There'd be no survivors. Okay, it's like that would not. No one could get away unless you were immune, like Ellie, which isn't interesting. So that's a possibility. Some people don't have allergies, and it's interesting because it's like not everybody is allergic to the same thing, right? So that would create some variety in immune powers that people could have. Now, again, I don't know what I'm talking about, but I can say that because I'm no medical expert, but I can say that it would make sense that some people would be immune more than just Ellie. So maybe we'll see that in the future. But let me get back to this. My breakdown. So, okay, so I'm like, now you do the obvious. Okay, so I'm like, this is One Star City. But then when you get to the second half, which is right around 30 minutes, that's how these shows work. At least this one is pretty much on that pattern. Because I think I looked, it was 25 minutes when they were going in the dark and doing their raid. That was scary. That was very exciting. Okay, I was down, I was in. And then Jessie shows up. We'll get into that. That was super dope. That was the moment I was like, yes. Yes. All right. I'm like, yes. I was like, right on, man. I love this guy. Young Mazzino is his name, the actor. I think I'm saying it right. I love this guy. He's got a bright future. This guy I could see him being a star. I could honestly see him being a star in his own movies, his own television show. He's got that thing. I love that. The writing for him, he's a good actor. Dina's a good actress. Bella, they're all good actors. The writing for him has allowed him to really be that guy. And that's the guy we needed in this episode. So I see some hope in that. Again, without Pedro, I'm still down on the show, but we had a surprise at the end of this one. If you have not watched, again, sorry, spoilers. If you have not watched the episode, please watch the episode first because you're going to get spoiled. Hold on here. Let me do something here. You're going to get super spoiled, and I don't want you guys to get too spoiled. If you like this, please like this. If you're watching, we're live right now, by the way, we're live right now on Rumble, X, Facebook, and YouTube. So if you like this episode, please do me a big favor. I have to my Facebook people, I have to actually I have to make it public. This live feed's on, but I got to make it public. Here we go. So for my Facebook people, you're going to see this a little later. I'm making it public now. But if you like this video, please like it and share it. I appreciate that. If you hate me, put a comment. I appreciate that too. Your likes and your comments and your retweets, reposts, let the algorithm know that this is a valuable thing for others to see. Then you enjoy it. So the second half was scary, man. I loved it. It got scary. It got spooky. Jessie shows up. The action was really good, and Ellie was laying some pipe. Okay, Ellie I was exhilarated. The ending was very exhilarating. They did some cool stuff with lighting, darkness, good versus evil. I loved it. It was good stuff, man. So I was like, okay, when Jessie showed up, I'm like, I'll give you 3 stars. I could not walk away from this without going, this is a 4-star. This is a good episode for them. They're pulling us out. Now I can see at the end of this episode, and we'll get there. I got a few more minutes to jump. I'm going to try to jump ahead through some things here. I could see them. I could see the next two episodes, and usually episode 6 of like a 9, 8, 10 episode season. I'm not sure. I'd have to look ahead. I'm not sure how far this one goes. Usually 6 is like the good one. So I'm feeling good. They set us up for a good one. Where everybody is at now in the story, it could be overdrive action, and that's what I want. I'm watching this for zombies and action. I'm really watching it more for action than the zombies because the cordyceps dudes were like, I was kind of not sold on them. Earlier in this season, we saw the Battle of Jackson Hole, which was pretty dope. So if you put a lot of cordyceps guys, a lot of good action, that one I think I gave it 4.5 stars. So this show has potential to be a 5-star show. It really does. So I was exhilarated. That is that word I'm using here, exhilarating. I was exhilarated by the ending, and I was pretty happy with that. I'm like, that's really cool. They're saving me, pulling me back from the ledge, guys. Now, if you're interested, just want to let you know, if you join this late, you can follow me on Epic Film Talk on TikTok, on YouTube, Rumble. I have all of my I've done every episode this season of a recap. They're all categorized. If you want to watch those, also on X. You have to go through my highlights on X, and you'll see all of those episodes captured. So here are my thoughts going into season 5. My chair's too high here. Here are my thoughts going into season 5, episode 5. Sorry, a lot going on in my head. So I want to give you. So I have my thoughts going into the episode. So I want to give you what I wrote down before I got into it. So so I already kind of mentioned this. The idiot fans of this show on TikTok are a bunch of bullies and essentially super immature. That's one of my takeaways from last episode, from the feedback I got on my clips. Now, people can criticize me, but I just was getting bullied. I'm like, this is stupid. A lot of fake profiles, and I could tell they're just young people because usually they're attacking me because of my age. They're telling me I'm too old to watch the show, which is a joke. Without guys like me, you wouldn't have a show, okay? We're the guys paying for it. We're the people putting it together. Guys and gals were the ones doing it. So, so if you're one of the fans that you're so wrapped up in the show, everyone's saying it's great, grow up and understand it's a television show, and people can love it and they can hate it. I was saying earlier that there are some websites that are review websites. 40% people have liked it, 60% are down on the show. The episode last week, a lot of people thought it was a big fucking joke, especially the part where Ellie's like, I'm a dad. That did not go over well with people. And some people didn't like it because they just, they're not into that thing, right? That's not me. I don't care. What I care about is that was a really pointless moment and it made no sense and it just killed the ending for me. So, that was one of my takeaways. The fans of the show need to grow up, and I'm done. I'm done with people telling me to watch, to play the video game. I don't do video games. I do like sports games, but I'm watching the show. If I wanted to play, it's very simple. If I wanted to play the video game, I'd be playing the fucking video game. So please save it. Like, it's okay if you want to tell me you don't understand it because you haven't played the game. Yeah, no kidding. And that's the problem. I shouldn't have to play the game to understand a television show I'm paying $20 a month to watch on HBO Max. They're making a bundle. They should write the show so we can understand it. That's just good TV and movies. I mean, that's like fundamental. Why should we let them off the hook when it comes to fundamental filmmaking, right? Or show making? That's just dumb. So don't be an idiot fan, okay? Don't do that. Let me leave this here. I'll take that one off. Okay, B, this is interesting. So this was a thought that I had because obviously I was reading the criticism, a lot of criticism on X, a lot of people hating and it really wasn't the sex scene, which I thought was a way over the top. We saw some action, and then what's funny is the name of this episode is, what is the name of this episode? It's For Her Love or something. Oh, Feel Her Love. I was like, yeah, we sure felt her love last week. So it wasn't the sex scene that people were really mad about. It was the scene after where they woke up and they're like, we're getting married now and we're going to cut Jessie out of the baby. And it's Jessie's baby and Dina's pregnant. And Ellie's like, I'm a dad now. And like when you rewatch that scene, it's so hilarious how dumb it is. I'm a dad now. And even the way she does it, I'm a dad. It's like so dumb. And when you that clip's been isolated and just played over and over, it's ridiculous. So that's when they're gonna regret, honestly. And so when you do writing that's bad, you have to pay a price for it, and they are paying a price for it. The feedback is like it was stupid. So but some people are calling that woke. Is this show woke, or is it just written by morons? That's all. That was the thought I had, because these are thoughts I have to myself. I write them down. And what are my thoughts going into the show tonight? And my thought was, is it woke, or is it just written by dummies? And people are getting confused and calling it woke when it's just really bad writing. I really think it's written by dummies, honestly. These guys are rich. They're making a lot of money. They're video game guys. They're just dumb when it comes to the sensitivities of who's watching it. And I know that this season has been written out and they filmed it already. It's in the can. They should drop 2 at a time, honestly. I hate 1 episode at a time. It just would make it easier to digest, or maybe 2-hour episodes. It's just Game of Thrones did that, which was really smart because there's so much going on, and it's unfair to break it up in some cases to bring the audience back, because they're coming back. You've got them captured. You're doing what, 20 million views or something an episode? They're coming back. But so is it woke, or is it just dummies? And I felt like, no, I don't think this show is woke per se, because I guess it's your definition of woke. And some people are afraid to talk about it. I'm not afraid to talk about it. I don't hang up about it. Like, look, to me, it's like everybody can think, they can feel how they want to feel. And if people's behavior brings on negativity because, it's not appropriate to the audience the behavior is happening to, if you get my drift, then you bring that on yourself. So in some cases, yeah, I mean, there's some over the top stuff that you can consider woke, right? I don't necessarily. I really racked my brain, and I'm like, is there anything like woke in this? And I don't necessarily think there's anything woke. I mean, let's be honest. Lesbian relationships, that's been something that's been portrayed in TV forever, ever, years, even before the woke thing in movies. Even before the woke thing was a thing, we had, representation of LGBTQ in movies and TV. Now, you may say not enough, but it was there. So, I mean, now, look, it's not an issue anymore. Look, it's not an issue. Like, it's really clearly movies and TV writers are going to cater to everybody in diverse environments. Some people feel like if there's people of different cultures representing characters, that could be considered woke. I don't particularly think that's a problem. So so those things don't stand out to me. But the one thing that did stand out to me was the fact that, and maybe people thought this was a little too much, and they did, clearly, was Ellie and Dina have a sex scene. Like they have a sex scene, and then they spoon and then wake up, and then all of a sudden they're in a relationship. Now, I understand that some people do life like that. Now, that happens, right? Sometimes, you're dating somebody, then you take it to that next level. I mean, look, real talk. This isn't by the way, if you're a child or a teenager watching this review is not for you. This show's not even for you. It's not. This isn't a very adult show. After what happened last week and stuff actually every episode, the Joel episode, this one, and last week, this one had some brutal stuff in it. Like the most violent scene, I really it was over the top guts. Like, that's too much. So there are things that they take too far just for the shock value. And I think that is the weakness of this show, is that they don't know when it's enough. They just don't. And that's what happened last week. The sex scene would have been better if they had sex and then you black out and wake up, or not they black out, but, cut to black, you wake up and they're moving into the next thing. And it's like, okay, we're awkward. We're kind of, that's real life. Okay. So what they did was a misportrayal of how these things work. Look, I'm a grown-up, right? So that's why, to me, it was like super moronic to be like, now they're in a relationship. And so they took about 5 minutes or something of the end for them to sit around and talk about cutting Jessie out of his baby, which is his baby, according to Dina. Okay, I don't know if they have a paternity test in this apocalyptic world, but I'm over my time. I need to get to my breakdown. But anyway, I think this is important. I just thought that you could say some people thought that was woke, that they were like, we're planning a family with the baby, and then Ellie says, I'm a dad. I don't know. I just think that was moronic. I didn't see it as woke. So it's just that's and some people are mad because they're and this is what I'm reading. I mean, look, I've gotten the comments. They're mad because they're saying people are not accepting that it's woke. And it's not a woke show. You're fooling yourself if you think the show's woke. It's a show with relationships that are mainstream. Look, this is a mainstream relationship, okay? Right? There's nothing not mainstream about the relationship that Ellie and Dina have. But the way they fast-tracked it went to a kind of X-rated sex scene that was like, okay, and then in a weird moment, and it was just weird. The timing was weird. It was weird. And not what was happening, but just when they did it. And then they go to a scene of we're in a relationship and we're planning to have a family, and it just didn't work. And when you're in that situation, the apocalypse, zombies, danger, this is a show that should have danger every second. You should watch this show and feel tension of danger. That's why Walking Dead was so good. Sopranos was very good because there was always tension. Number of shows I can give you. 24 with Kiefer Sutherland. Tension. Fast. 24 hours. 24 episodes. Tension. Tons of shows I can't think. The Strain had tension, but then it had good comedy. It had good writing. It had interesting storylines. Some of my favorite shows have that tension, especially when it's monster shows, right? So this show just doesn't carry the tension. Now the episode that, which they should, right? So the episode that carried the tension the most was the Joel's episode, because that was just you knew Abby was a harbinger of death. Things bad were happening. Joel got trapped. That was very tense. A lot of tension. And then the next episode, they just let it go because they did a 3-month time jump. And we're fine. We're over it. We're over the funerals. Like, this show just kills tension. And that was my point of last week. It's like, well, is this a dangerous apocalypse or not? Are we going to have tension or not? Are we going to really just sit around and have the heroes just fuck around in a music store and play guitars to each other? And we all know it's the most dangerous environment ever, and anything can happen at any moment, but they're acting like it's not, so we can't have that tension. If they don't carry the tension, we can't. Well, that changed in this episode. They did do half episode of that boring shit, and then they flipped into overdrive, and we had a really exhilarating episode with tension. The tension is back at the end of this episode. Now, they did something weird. Again, it's maybe a video game thing. I feel like I'm starting to learn if they do something weird and out of place, they're trying to cater to the video game fans. Fine, but this thing they did, I could work with. That's why I gave it 4 stars. The only reason this wasn't a 5-star was, again, they killed me with we're in a relationship, we got to kiss, we love you, you love me. Just dumb. That's low IQ theater. That's not for adults. Adults don't watch television shows where people sit, they just don't watch that with people just walking around being lovey-dovey. We don't watch that unless we're watching a romance show, right? This is, again, the category matters. This is not a romance show. It is an action show. It's a fantasy. It is a violent, apocalyptic zombie show. Last season carried that tension up until the very end of the season. And this season, they've just really struggled to make a choice. The choice is, are we going to be a romance, or are we going to be a legitimate monster show? And it seemed like to me they tried to make both choices in this episode. That's why it's not a 5-star. It was just bad. But I could work with it. So there you go. I guess I'm shouting. I don't know. I'm just excited about it. I'm excited about a good episode. Okay, let me get through this. I'm going to try to do this in an hour. Okay. So is the show woke, or is it just written by morons? You know my answer. The other thing I was thinking about was they introduced Jeffrey Wright, and he had a really killer scene last week. But there's no universe that Jeffrey Wright gets less featured moments in a show than Bella Ramsey. So they should never do that again. And when I realized that he showed up twice, that doesn't make sense. He's like an Oscar nominated actor. He's won golden Emmys and Golden Globes, I think. He's a well established, amazing like Shakespearean actor. I mean, this guy is another level. He's a movie actor. So there's no way a new talent like Bella Ramsey should be more featured in a TV show than Jeffrey Wright or even Josh Peck. And now, hear me out. I know what you're thinking. This is her show. She's the me. That's not my point. My point is, any show these guys are introduced in, back to Josh Peck as well. He was an Oppenheimer. Josh Peck he's got more experience than Bella Ramsey. These guys are more experienced actors, and they're a bigger name than she is. So, in my opinion, there should never be a universe where these guys show up and don't get as much time on screen that she does. So, in the future, I hope that when they introduce these guys, they get more screen time and balance it out, because that's just the way it should go. Their scenes were much better. Now, Josh Peck's was kind of lame, but my point is their scenes were much better than Bella Ramsey's just talky scenes. And I'm learning, back to Bella Ramsey. I had an original question after they killed Joel. It was a couple weeks ago. Was, can Bella carry the show? My answer is no. One, because they brought in stronger actors to help her, and two, she's just not that good unless it's like mean, nasty action. But that's okay. That's her strength. So she can't do the drama per se without having like the stakes super high, right? She can do dramatic when the stakes are very high. Like, we're trapped in a corner. There's cordyceps everywhere. And okay, here's what we're gonna do. Da 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 da. Stay with me. Like, that's action drama, but she's good with that. But when it comes to having a dramatic moment just alone with a really good thespian, she's not there yet. Now, it could be that she's just not getting the writing, and that's fine. And she's locked into this show for quite some time, so we'll see how that develops. But at this point, there isn't any room. The Ellie character, there isn't any room to give her legitimate drama scenes to work with. It's just not. Her world is so simple: violence, aggression, or I'm just gonna bang Dina and be a dad. Her motivations are so simple for this character arc that I don't see her sitting down and having a conversation with Jeffrey Wright, talking about the cordyceps crisis. I don't see that. Now, if they move that character there next season, because they got renewed for a third season, because it's one of those things where they're making a ton of money and everybody's watching it, mainly for Pedro. But if they can move her writing into that direction, cool, we'll see. But it's not there right now. Even when she's being sinister, she had a very sinister. She was really awesome in it. She can kill that sinister stuff, that vicious stuff. She's got it. She just doesn't have the writing or the chops yet. Well, she just hasn't been delivered writing that will put her in a situation where she can do some legitimate drama. Okay. So, again, there's no universe where somebody like Jeffrey Wright is outshined by Bella Ramsey. So that's a problem for me. I'm hoping I don't see that anymore. And D, this show is now a colossal bag of shit since they killed Joel. Can it recover? I'm asking myself, can this show recover? After this episode, the answer is still no, okay, because they still were too caught up in the love story and trying to give you all this exposition to get to the action when they should just get to the action, okay? I will tell you this. When I saw the action scenes and I was done with the show, I was like, if they just cut out half of the talky talk and went right to action, or cut the dialogue and made it simple and got from A to B, this show would kill, man, which is what they did last time. If you recall, they didn't have a lot of dialogue unless Joel was like doing caveman stuff, and then Ellie was doing like snarky stuff and doing dad jokes. Like, that dialogue worked last year. It feels like to me somebody new is writing the dialogue and they're just not doing it right. So this show is a bag of shit. Now it's a half bag of shit now because they got me out of the basement. We'll talk about the basement. Basement's a thing. They got me out of the basement with a really, really great action scenes that connected, and they're taking me where I need to go. But the last two episodes, wasting my fucking time, man. They could have just got right to this shit and really poured it on, and they chose not to. I don't know why. I really don't know why these guys drag this shit out. I don't. It just it blow because like when I look at this episode, there's a scene we'll get into it. There's a scene where Dina's like, "Here's a map, and we're gonna triangulate," and I'm on the walkie. And do you know who the Amish are? And like all this stuff, it's like what? It's pointless stuff. Nobody sits there when the stakes are high and you're like, "Can we talk about the Amish in Pennsylvania in 1775?" It was like a history lesson to try to explain to you who the Seraphim dudes were, which or the Seraphites. Sorry, I'm over talking and losing my voice. They're trying to explain to us who those guys are. And I can appreciate that, but I don't need it. And if you're not going to give me a scene that makes sense in the exposition, don't sit me down and slow the show down. I was like this by then. I was like, this show's shitty again. So it's maybe I'll just say maybe they can recover. Now, one last thing I'll tell you guys. This might help you because my criticism, I got a lot of criticism. I'm going to read some comments. My criticism that I got, most of it was from my breakdown of the Take On Me scene. And I think I should probably flesh this out a little bit. Give me 1 second. Let me grab some water. Stand by. All right, thanks. I had to grab my water. I hate doing that. I totally hate doing that. Sorry, guys. I hate that, but I had to get this. Okay, I'm choking out. Woo, much better. So, I think that why. Okay, so I'm definitely older. Okay, I was around when "Take On Me" was a thing. Okay, when that was a hot song, and we're watching the video. Okay, it was "Take On Me" is so old. I know. Yes, I'm old. It's so old that it's one of the first music videos ever made. That's how old it is. Okay. So I forget that if you're 30, if you're 25, you're not understanding Take On Me. And I understand that you guys probably missed that. You missed that I missed it. And let me explain that. So Take On Me is a parody song now. No one takes that song seriously. It is one of the ultimate terrible songs of the 80s that's so super cheesy that we just joke when we talk about it or sing it. It's a cheesy song. Google it if you've not heard the original version. You should have. When you listen to the original version, it's like polka. It's like bop, 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 bop. It's ridiculous. So when they turned it into a love song, that's what was so ridiculous to me is it just doesn't work at all for people that aren't 20. So I get it. If you've never heard that song before, now I understood it. I thought it through and thought, okay, I can see what the criticism is. You guys really think that's a love song. It's not a love song. So I think that when they put it in the game, that was kind of a troll. Honestly, I think it was like, okay, we're going to do Take On Me, which is kind of funny, right? And also they have to get the license to a song. So maybe it was the only one they could get that was an 80s song that could kind of make it a love song. Sound like a love song. It's not a love song, even though. So if you watch Dina crying and you hear the lyrics, you can think, oh, it's a love song. It's not a love song. So just want to put that out there. Take On Me is a cheesy parody song now. People make fun of it. So that's why most people are like, that's dumb. Most people that watch this show are not 30. They're 35, 40. They're in their 50s. A lot of you, yes, are in your 20s. So that crowd dug it. But look, we're paying for it. So an older crowd is watching this. So it was, that's why I just thought it was a dumb moment, and it really still is a dumb moment to me. I'm not taking that back, but I can appreciate that you guys missed it, that I missed that you missed it, that I missed it. Does that make sense? Okay, so anyway, so maybe that's good TV because we're still talking about it. Sometimes bad TV is good TV because you're still talking about it. Okay, so thanks for watching. If you're still hanging in there, housekeeping, just so you know, let me recap this again. If you're new to watching this, my name is Jason J. Daniel. Or if you're just joining me, I am a film TV critic, film critic. I do film studies, TV studies. I'm in the business. So this is a critique. So for the housekeeping for you guys is this is a TV film study. The game does not matter to me. The video game doesn't fucking matter. Don't bring it up. Don't talk to me about it. I'm talking about how a TV show works. You can't create a TV show and then tell people, well, you're not going to get it unless you watch the video game. That's not fair. That's just not fair, and that's not part of the art. Um, that there is an art to it, and why? Um, I wrote some notes that I think will help. Let me see here. So why? Okay, so to the video game worshipers, let me just explain something to you and why TV is an art form versus the video game stuff. And then when your source material is a book, a video game, I don't know, whatever your source material might be, um, a novel, a newspaper article, true crime, television is an art form. Let me explain how. There are real people doing the acting. Real people bring nuances to the characters. That's acting. Real people act with their eyes, they act with their heart, they act with their mind. They will sometimes you don't even have to say words to get a point across. So it's an art form. You can't get that in a video game. The characters of a video game don't have to look like the actors. The controversy with Bella Ramsey, everybody saying she's too ugly to be Ellie. That's stupid. This is, and that brings me to this point. Actors create nuances with performance that a video game or AI could never bring to it. You may not understand this, but there's a lot of people upset that AI and video games which is a whole form of entertainment. Actors do video game voices all the time. They do green screen for video games. They do live act. It's a legitimate. Video games are legitimate. They make more money than movies, but it doesn't mean that we have to surrender to a video game and copy a video game. So if you're expecting us to do exactly, us being actors, to do exactly what is in a video game, you're basically telling us to dance like a monkey for AI. You're telling us to let technology guide our choices. That's not acting. Actors have nuances. A computer will never be able to do what a live person can do on film. Since the very beginning of film, and what the 1910, was it 1905, 1920s, with the golden age of movies, actors on film created magic. Video games are not magic. You just can't get like that exhilarating moment I got from watching the end of this show. You're not getting that with a video game. You might, but that's not real. That's not really an art form like TV is. I'm sorry, it's a different art form than TV is, but it's not the same thing. So we're not going to copy a video game, okay? And it's an abomination to actors to say you must be like a video game. So stop being disappointed, okay? If it's not the video game. So I've got some comments. Again, it's a critical film study. I have some comments from. Let me see here. Remove this. I have some comments from. Let's see here. I'm having some trouble with my graphics. All right, let me see here. Let me check my monitor. All right, here we go. Okay, let me remove this. My graphics are crashing. Okay, I will give it a second here. So yeah, the video game does not matter to me. So let's get into the recap. Hold on, really quick here. Well, darn it. Let me see here. Sorry, guys. We're okay. Let's see here. 1 second here. Okay, well, clearly, let's see here. I think our live stream is crashing. Oh, stand by. 1 second here. Sorry, guys. Okay, I guess it's not. Okay, so my graphic is frozen. Okay, so we're just gonna go with this graphic and let's break it down. Okay, so episode 2, the recap. Feel her love. Okay. So I do have the notes here, so I don't need my graphics. So this episode is called Feel Her Love, which is like, okay, what the hell? It's getting into the future of let me see here. Let me enhance this here. It's getting into like where are they gonna go with Ellie and And Dina, where are they going to go with this? So they recap the show and they get into the whole love story again. So the montage starts out with the pride again, clearly. It's kind of, to me, it's like, okay, it's kind of a joke here, but we're going to go into the love story again. So my hopes were very low. Okay, so um, so they did answer my question about last week in the montage. Is this going to be an LGBTQ love story? Certainly, they started off with that again. No harm, no foul. It's whatever. They got through it. But anyway, the romance, I don't really need it. So, and also, have you thought that Ellie and Dina are kind of a bad match? I think they're kind of a bad match, in my opinion. Um, so so now we get into we start with this lady walking through a hallway, which is I forget her name. She's like this tough general lady in the hallway, and she's walking through, and they're looking at a door that's like blocked, and they're all silent. They're all kind of freaking out. They look terrified. She doesn't look like she'd be the leader of anything, but we're gonna go with it. And so they walk through, and they take a look at the this I guess elevator that goes to the basement that's blocked in. She goes into a side room. There's somebody in there. It looked like, I thought she was interrogating her, but I guess she's not. She's doing some sort of a conversation on what happened before she got there, and it's really piecemeal. It's a super boring conversation because I don't know what's going on. Okay, and I'm like, okay. And they talk about a guy named Leon who was apparently had to be left in the bottom of the basement, and she says apparently the spores are in the air. Okay, so they give us that, and I'm like, okay, that's interesting. The spores are in the air. We didn't know that was a thing. Now the spores are in the air. Pretty interesting. And so I guess Leon is the son of one of the ladies that's one of the other generals in this room. And I don't remember her name. And so we're like, who's Leon? They make a thing of it. She says, I'm sorry, your son had to go. We don't know what happened to the son. We have a feeling he passed away or died. Okay. Or maybe he was stuck in the wherever he's stuck. Okay. So I don't buy this lady being like a tough person, but it is what it is. But the lady that's lost Leon is pretty upset, and they're concerned mostly because the spores are in the air. You find out the spores are in the air in this basement. Okay. And in the behind the scenes, the individuals that running the show, they're like, yeah, it turns out now the spores are going to be underground in certain areas, not everywhere. It's not airborne outside yet. It's underground. They said it makes more sense that it's underground. Okay. So I guess they're introducing that certain areas it's going to be underground. Okay. So it's, I'm very confused by this, but later on it makes sense. So then we cut to a scene of Ellie is a handyman now because she's going all out being the dad. She fixes the lights in the theater. Now they kick the lights on. Whole thing's not working for me, like I talked about last week. Like you're supposed to be hiding, but apparently the theater, you can turn on all the lights now. That wouldn't make any sense if you're trying to hide. People would know that's the only building with lights in it. She turns on the chandeliers. She goes into like a main theater. There's like more guitars, which made me go, okay, no, don't do that to me again. But first they have a conversation, which makes sense later on. So Dina's again, like I explained to you, she's doing a history lesson. Again, they're trying to jam too much dialogue in it. It's not working for me. It is boring. It's dragging the show down. There's no urgency. They have a conversation about dumb Ellie is versus Dina, which is kind of like a man woman. They're trying to create this like, I guess, masculine feminine energy conversation. Again, it just doesn't work. Or if it maybe better actors or something, that's not working. They have a conversation about triangulation or triangulation. Like for some reason a triangle is a thing. They're going to do a triangle attack. Now later on they bring in a love triangle, which is foreshadowing. So it made sense what the triangle was for. We see that later on. I'm like, oh, okay, that's why they made a thing of a triangle. Okay, because Ellie even says, I know what a triangle is. They talk about the Seraphim guys. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but they try. Sorry, my graphics are stuck, guys. I had all sorts of graphics for this, and apparently, let me see here if I can put another graphic up here. Let's see here. Then we have a concert hall. Let's see if this will work. And that's not okay. That's not working. All right, cool. So my graphics are frozen. So from there, Ellie turns on all the lights and walks into the concert hall, and there's all these perfect guitars, all these instruments in there, like somebody had been in there playing instruments. She walks up to a guitar, starts playing it again. I'm like, no, don't do this to me again. And then she only does like a line. She starts, and for some reason, she just doesn't feel it. She has some sort of like internal rumbling or some sort of a sound or something. Not really sure what that was, but you could tell she's like not feeling. Maybe it's like ominous feeling, or maybe she's like, the urgency's coming back. They were in this little love fantasy, I guess. Now it's kind of crashing in, but she puts the guitar down. I'm like, thank God. So we don't get the fucking singing again. So they decide to have a confusing plan. Ellie walks back in, and Dina's like, hey, the Isaac crew, we know where Nora is. We've heard her name. Nora's one of the junior Fireflies. And she pinpoints it to another building, and they're going to go raid this building. Okay, a lot of talky doesn't make a lot of sense. And there's even a joke where Ellie says, these guys can't stop talking, and we can hear all of their plans, which is ironic because all these guys do is play on the guitar, make all sorts of noise, turn the lights on, and start having sex and making all sorts of chaos in this concert, in this movie, or this theater or concert hall. And that's kind of ironic because they're doing the same thing. But anyway, so somehow, and then Dina starts talking about the Seraphites or Seraphim guys, and somehow she has their motivations. She starts talking about who they are and their motivations, and they're historic, and they're like the Amish. Made no sense. There's no way she would know that information about these people. Not at all. So anyway, again, that's a scene where they're trying to jam all this exposition in to try to help us fill in the plot gaps, but that's fine. We can work with that. So guys, if you're just joining me, my graphics got frozen. But anyway, I guess that graphic works. I use Rumble Studio, and it's a little wonky. I'm going to switch over to a different. After this show, I'm probably going to switch over to a different streaming client. But I stream all my shows live. So their plan is really confusing to me, and I'm listening, going, Jesus Christ, we're going to sit here and talk here. It was boring. Adina knew stuff she would never know. The plot hole, the writing to cover up the plot hole was just embarrassing to me. So again, by here. At this point, this is a 1-star show for me. This show is totally sucking at this point. Then they go out on a baby walk. Okay, so they're walking around. Dina, by the way, Dina's hair is completely curled. Watch it again. She's got big barrel curls, a curling iron. Her hair's great. Maybe they plugged in, and because Ellie's like, I found a generator. Right? Okay, convenient. So maybe, she did some hair. I don't know, did her hair up. But it's clearly like they have a picture. Like somebody should have a conversation with these people and go, you can't have hair and makeup that's so over the top in the apocalypse. It's not going to work. So especially when they're on the run. So they look all freshened up. They're talking about the baby, they're walking out in the open. And then they're like, are you sure this is safe? And they're still out in the open, which they're just not acting normal. So again, heroes doing dumb things. And what was interesting is Dina mentions she could name the baby Ellie if it's a girl. Interesting. And Elijah if it's a boy. Now Elijah means God is with me, or God Yahweh is God. It's a Hebrew name. Interesting. Okay, that was foreshadowing for something. They do have a social justice moment, which they do, where they try to give you a political message. They do that a little later on. In this connection of scenes. So they walk up and they find a bunch of dead Seraphites, and they're lined up against a wall, like executed. It's getting a little much. There's a lot of executions with these guys. They're all dressed up like, it's interesting. They zoom in on some of the ladies a few times this episode. They all have red hair, and they look like Princess Leia from Return of the Jedi. and their clothes look like your clothes from like Endor. It's very Star Wars. You know what I'm talking about if you're a Star Wars fan. So they, and then there's like a thing, find her love or feel her love is like the goddess these people are worshiping. There's a mural, and then at the bottom to like feel this bitch or something. So there's a nice, so they kill these people in front of the mural, and they're mocking these folks. And then Dina gets sick again, and then Ellie starts having a panic attack, which was way bad. I was really surprised because Ellie or Bella Ramsey starts going, "Oh my gosh, there's dead people," and oh my, she like I starts panicking. I brought you on this trip, and oh, you're pregnant, and oh, and she's like pacing around and talking. I should take you back. What I just did was more emotion than Bella did. Like it was either one take, let's do it. It was like she wasn't warm. Maybe the first take, but it was just really flat. It was bad, and it was like really, it was like whoa. It was so bad it took me out. Like her performance of those lines and the panic was too. It was just not good. Again, she has limitations, and the script's bad. It wasn't a good. It's not a good. It wasn't scripted well, right? So then Dina's like, I'm fine. Let's go forward. I'm tough girl. And then they start walking forward. They decide, should we go back or not? Again, it's wasted time. We know they're going forward. All right. We know they're going forward. But again, they have a conversation. Should we go back? They're just wasting time. So Dina is walking forward, and they decide to give you her backstory. So Dina says, everyone's got a fucked up backstory. You want to hear mine? No, I don't. I'm thinking not really, but we're going to hear it. And she goes on with this dumb, story about, and then, everybody, her family was killed, and she was 8 years old, and she had to kill the guy that killed her family. He was a raider. So her family wasn't killed by cordyceps. And then I guess, that's what happens in the apocalypse. Everybody just kills randoms. And she was a victim of that crime. She survived. Her family died. She was on her own. That's how somehow she got to Jackson Hole. And then Ellie's like, how did you get to Jackson Hole? She's like, I'm not going to talk about that, which is okay. It's a weird thing. And then Dina says something. It was like a very social justice moment. It was very much, okay, this is a message on the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, or the Israel bombing of the Palestinians, bombing them to hell. She says something to the effect of, if I kill, oh yeah, it was like, if I killed the guy that killed my family, and then who kills me, and when does the killing stop? Do we keep killing? It was the very Israeli. It was very like anti. You could have read it both ways. It almost felt like, okay, she's being anti-Israel or like, is that the message, or is anti-Palestine? But it was clearly a social message. They write that in there, and it was just it just was confusing to which side she was kind of like trying to talk about. And it was like kind of like, it was like subliminal, and but she was clearly, the writers were wanting to put a message in about the conflict, and it was just kind of dumb. And to me, it would have made more sense if they had been more pointed, but it was like really confusing. So I wasn't sure which side they were on. But that kind of connected back to using a Jewish or a Hebrew Jewish name for the baby. So Elijah, it was just okay. So that made no sense, but it made sense that they were trying to plant that seed that they're going to talk about. It seemed like Israel to me, but you could watch it for yourself. Again, I have no opinion on that. I'm just telling you what they were doing. So they haven't. So, okay. So this is where now they go to the night raid, to the I'm sorry, the WLF. I call it the WLF. The fuck. What the fuck? So they plan this night raid, and they get to, so it goes right to night. Okay, so they get on the journey. I'm telling you, if they had just cut out other the shit, this would have been a 5-star episode from this point on. They're urgent. It's night. Bella's in that mode. Her acting is like urgent. Now they had some dumb moments in between getting to the main stuff, but it was much better. From here on, it was much better. I was in it. But what was interesting is the show was so bad to this point that when it got good, I was like, this is not going to last. It took me a second to like, okay, this is going to last. Okay, so they do the night raid, and then they break in all them by themselves. So they get around the army. There's a light, there's a spotlight. They dodge that, but there's nobody there. So that was dumb, but they get in. The worst army ever, obviously, protecting this building. Gina happens to have bolt cutters, super convenient. I got heavy bolt cutter. Like, you're not carrying those bolt cutters around for fun, just in case. They were heavy duty, like clip. Like, you're not carrying those around. They had no idea they'd have that, so that was just, again, another preposterous thing to help the heroes get to the next point. That took me out of it too. I'm like, okay. So it wasn't perfect, but it was much better. Okay, so okay, Ellie, so they talk about Ellie can't be infected again. She's gonna go first. So it's like they're treating it like a superpower. They're like making a thing of it now, which I thought was interesting. Oh, I forgot to read the comments. I just realized. We'll skip that since my graphics crashed. But just trust me, the comments I had were people telling me, "Watch, you don't understand the game," and all that. So then they get to a point to where where's my so they're about to go into a hallway where chaos is going to ensue, and they have a moment where they're kind of arguing on how to do it, which doesn't make sense. There's no urgency, which they're like sitting there huddled right in like some TV or computer room. And Dina says, "Look, I love you, but I don't want you to get hurt." And Ellie goes, "You love me? Oh my, you love me?" She stops. I'm like, "God damn it! Is this like, this show's not serious, right? It's not a serious show." It was again another bad scene. They're just trying to get the whole love, like to talk about love. They're just making a thing of it. They go into the hall, which was like boring and weird. Dina starts acting like she's feeling something bad. I'm not sure if Dina's like developing a premonition thing, but they've done it a few times where she's like got some sixth sense, which wasn't helpful, because if she had some sixth sense, they wouldn't have walked into this trap. So they walk into essentially a trap. They go into the warehouse area, and they're like, "What could go wrong?" Right? And then they hear like a sound of sounds like a child. That's how these things start out, going this high pitched thing, like it's in hurting. Then they look up and there's a scary moment. This is where it got really good. And they have this like thing up on top, and the lighting is bad, and it's like a seraphim dude with like looks like they have a crown of like antlers coming out with the things. Not seraphim dude, sorry, cordyceps dude, a clicker, and it's up on these like big like stacks of wood or something, or crates. Scary. And then they start going, "Oh no!" And then they hear another one, and they start realizing there's more than one in here. They think they got 3 or 4. It turns out there's 11. That's at the on the behind the scenes I watched after. One of the writers of the show said there were 11 clickers in there. But they're the smart ones. They're evolved. They're pretty fast. They're super fucking strong too. So plan goes terribly wrong. Very scary. They start panicking. They lose their cool. Dina runs and gets in this cage thing, cages herself. That happens to be conveniently in there. Ellie's like, I'll draw him out. You go. I'm immune. You're not. Okay. So Ellie's shooting him, kind of boss. It's kind of cool. She had one moment where she's got to do the double gun, but they were too fast for her. So that was cool. The action was really cool. Dina's like locked in this cage thing to protect herself, but they're attacking her. Then the cordyceps have superpowers. They start ripping the cage open. What? And then Ellie's getting tackled. She's got 4 or 5. And they're like trying to biting her and stuff. Like, ah! And she's in trouble. And at that moment, you're like, well, somebody's got to save her. It was very predictable. I'm like, well, there's, clearly she's in through season 3. And that's the problem with renewing season 3 too early. Some people are going to make it. Obviously, we didn't know Joel wasn't, but the video game people did. So plan goes wrong. There was a scene where Ellie shoots. A cordyceps was trying to get to Dina. Ellie shoots in Dina's direction and kills the cordyceps. Would never happen. First of all, you're not going to be that deadly, dead-on shot in that panic moment, and you're not shooting when your friend is right in front. Not happening. They were like, it was too much. I know they tried to establish she's a good shot, but no one's hitting that shot in that moment unless you're like John Wick or some shit, or Deadpool or something. That's impossible. So I knew somebody's going to have to save him at this point. And so there's somebody comes out with a shotgun, starts blowing these things up. They fall off of Ellie, and Ellie's like, "Who is it?" They give you this filter on her vision, the point of view. She's like kind of confused. and then you see a masculine figure come up walking. I thought it was Tommy, which I was like, that's cool, but I don't know. It could have been just a random new person they're introducing. They do it a lot, or maybe Josh Peck. I was thinking Tommy or Josh Peck would have been cool, right? Turned out it was young Mazzino. It was Jessie. Okay, I was pretty happy about that. I was like, yes. So he showed him, like, you're right on. And he was like, dope. He was action. He's like, let's go. He's like, come with me if you want to live. He was very action movie. It was super cool. And then that just stepped it up. And then Dina and Ellie realized, okay, we're outclassed. And then they're like, help us, like they learned their lesson, right? So they break out. Soldiers are shooting them in the middle of the light. They don't get hit. That's dumb. They're, anyway, but they get through. They're running really slow. They're doing some weird, awkward movements just for TV. You'd never you would book it. You never stop and do a couple of shots for the camera. It is what it is. Bad blocking, but whatever. Soldiers are chasing them. They got there's heavy weapons coming out. These guys are running after them. They find a park. Jesse's like, let's get into the park. So he's got Dina with Ellie. Dina, they're cool. They're okay, kind of talking while they're running through, and they hide. These soldiers that are following them stop at the park, and they're like at the edge of it, and they're like, we're not going in. And you hear them talking about some stuff. It turns out it's a Seraphite park, Disney Seraphite. They don't want to go in. But makes no sense to me because these guys don't have guns, the Seraphites, and these guys have heavy weapons. That makes no sense. Those guys would come and just like shoot it. They shoot everything, right? If you really want to kill somebody, you just shoot anything in there. You're not caring. So they back off, which leaves Jessie and Ellie and Dina kind of like snaking through the forest, and then they see fire, like dun, 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 right? And they walk up to a murder in progress. So so you got some fire and blood stuff now. But before that, Jessie has a little argument with Ellie. You can tell there's some tension there, the love triangle. You can tell young Mazzino's like, hey, man, you brought Dina out here? Are you crazy? Like, he's kind of talking, Ellie's talking shit to him. He's like, can you shut the fuck up? He establishes that Tommy is out there. I'm like, yes. So him and Tommy went after Ellie and Dina, he said the next day. And which is like, so we're in day 2 now again, since they've been gone a few days, but the guys came after him. He saves their asses. And then I'm interested, like, why are these soldiers not going into the park? That doesn't make sense to me. I'm missing something. So Jessie says, okay, let's get together. We're going to find Tommy, and then we're going to regroup and go back to the theater. Gives you this quick plan. And I'm like, how does he know about the theater? Were they watching them in the theater? Which could be interesting. That could be why Jessie has an attitude, is maybe they knew they were in the theater banging or whatever, but you could tell he's got an attitude about it, and you're like, okay, which good acting. You're like, what is the emotions here? You could read a lot going on with Jessie, young Mazzino. So I like that. So there's a wild scene. They're sitting there watching a murder. I guess the Seraphites have like one of Isaac's guys. They string him up. They start hanging him. Brutal. He's like on his tippy toes, and they start doing some don't like kind of tribal thing. They're chanting. Then they pull the guy's shirt up, and they cut him open like a pig, like a stuck pig, like an animal, and his guts all pour out, and it goes on forever. I hate that shit. I really do. I don't know if I'm just getting too old for this shit, but like I really just dislike the ultra violent. There's something about when a movie disembowels a person, it just doesn't go over well with me. To me, it's almost like being disgusting for the sake of being disgusting. I don't know. It's just not artistic to me. And that scene, in fact, I just had to block my eyes because like that stuff just makes me ill. It really does. It's not good for me. I like violence that makes sense. Like I'm not a pansy, but like it's too gross. And it's like, okay, and it went on for a long time. I kept looking back. I'm like, really? So they're like, oh, they're watching. Oh my God. So clearly they can't help the guy. That doesn't make sense. And that makes sense that they won't intervene. But when this goes down, all of a sudden an arrow hits Dina in the leg and she goes, ouch, which made no sense. If that arrow hit you, it would go straight through your bone and she would have been screaming. Again, another situation where a hero gets gravely injured and shakes it off, right? No big deal. So she's like, oh, keeping it. Oh, ow, ow, right? And so Jessie picks her up. And then Ellie's like, now let's break up. You get her out of here. Let me draw their attention. I got you. So Bella Ramsey goes right into, so this is all Bella's show from this point on. And it was great. She fucking killed it. They put a lot on her. This was I have to say, I was really impressed. Very, very serious action scene, a lot going on. And she killed it. So she starts shooting her guns, getting the attention of everybody and just running for it. And she's just randomly running for it. Exit Jessie and Dina, and somehow through serendipity, which happens in this show, everybody's lucky. Dina finds the WLF tower. Very easy, very convenient, not a problem. Then there's guards there, okay? The junior fireflies are in this room, and she's like, "Hey, time to get in there." She heads towards it, and of course, she's in the tall grass. A dog starts going off. There's a guy with a dog. He takes his time. She slips in another hole that only she could go into. Why you would leave a hole that big? Whatever. She slips in, and he's like, "Oh, whoops." Okay, so they don't suspect her breaking in. So she easily breaks in, which makes no sense. So, but the couple of things like the arrow, the breaking in easily, you avoid a dog that's growling. I'm willing to overlook that stuff because it's a great scene. So again, I'll work with it. I will work with the fantasy action. So she gets in and she finds Nora, which is pretty cool. So I don't know the actress that plays Nora. I didn't look it up. I loved her in this scene. She was pretty good in the first part, the episode she was in when they killed Joel. Apparently, I didn't remember that she was one of the vicious ones who made Ellie watch, right, or whatever. That's what, in the behind the scenes after the show, that's what the writers established, is that one of Ellie's things with Nora is Nora made her watch. Nora's number 2 on her list. Okay. So she's doing Nora's doing some medical stuff. She goes bandaging people or something. Clearly they're in a war with these cult guys, like the Seraphites. I guess what we're establishing is the junior fireflies are now part of the WLF, and the WLF is in a war with the Seraphites, and somehow Isaac's people are kind of a subgroup. Confusing. But anyway, at this point, all we need to know is that the junior fireflies are part of this crew. And Nora is on the hit list. So Ellie's in the dark. Nora's doing a thing. And you hear Ellie, "Don't move." I love it. So Ellie comes up on her, draws on her. Nora acts tough. And then she's like, pretends to like be cool. And then says something totally demonic about how Joel's crying like a baby. And then to make Ellie mad, distracted her and then threw some sort of chemical on her. Now, again, I don't know what. She was pouring. It looked like some sanitizer or chemical that Nora was pouring into this medical thing. Clearly, something that if it's poured on your face, you're not feeling good about it. So when she blasted Ellie with a whole bin of it, like a lot, Ellie shakes it off, which makes no sense. Later on, she doesn't even look wet, but it is what it is. And she starts chasing Nora. They're running through the hallways, which is pretty cool. There's WLF dudes. I'm gonna have to try to remember that. Upstairs, no one, conveniently, there's nobody downstairs. They're running through. They're shooting at Ellie. Just doesn't give a fuck. She's chasing. She's just single focused, trying to get Nora. She's shooting. She can't hit Nora. Now, she didn't shoot Nora when she first confronted her, because that would have been a dead giveaway. My thought was Ellie should have just killed her right away, but she wanted to interrogate her and go, because she had a knife. She could have wasted her, but she wanted to find out where Abby is. So I would have just wasted Nora, but of course, Hero's doing dumb things. She has a conversation with a very dangerous person. And Nora fights back, which is what she would do in that situation. So it's very in character. I like that. She's running. Nora gets into cut to the basement that's blocked out because there's cordyceps juice, right, in the basement. We're in that building. They connected. I didn't realize it was that building until now. That's when you realize she runs past it. She's kind of trapped. Again, Nora knows the building. It's one of those situations. It's happened 3 times this season. Nora knows the building, but somehow she gets into a situation where she doesn't know this room. And, oh, I'm blocked. There's all these supplies. Oh, no. Doesn't make any sense. You would not run into an area where, like, you're working, you're living in the building. You know every nook and cranny. So that doesn't make sense. So anyway, Nora's forced to try to get into the elevator shaft. Elevator somehow falls down a level, and it drops Nora into the basement level. And she has to escape into the basement to get away from Ellie, because Ellie jumps down on top of the elevator. It's confusing. You just have to track with it. And so Nora's forced into the basement, right? She runs to hide. Ellie goes in. This is where it gets creepy. And so by the way, the Nora scene from when Ellie confronts Nora to the very end of the show, well written, so good. I loved it. It was exhilarating. I'm like, now we're back. Because now we're back to the point. Ellie is after a junior Firefly. This is what we've been waiting for. And Ellie's game for it, right? She's just fired up. So there's underground pockets of spores, and Ellie goes into this acid trip. It's like she goes into this, it's just a whole nother world. It's like Cordyceps City. Like all the mushroom things are just everywhere. She walks in and she finds people like in the walls, like, right? Kind of like Alien, which is a ripoff of Alien, where they're trapped in the wall and they're breathing spores. They make it really clear. They show you spores are all in the air. Ellie discovers it. She starts bringing it in and she connects it. And she's like, I'm cool. So she has no problem with this. She's walking through, breathing it, not a problem. They bring you to Leon. Leon's up against the wall. There's a big patch on his shirt that says Leon Park, which is the name, his last name, the last name of the lady in the first scene of the show. Clearly, they want us to know there's Leon. So Leon's the guy that said, don't come down here. Leon is like looking like he's alive on the wall. In the behind the scenes, one of the writers said that they're in that room. The story is there's like guys that have been there 5 to 10 years, like in that wall, still alive. It makes no sense how that would work. You'd be dead, like your heart would stop beating, whatever. So I guess they're being tortured. That was his word. They're being tortured down there. So Ellie doesn't put them out of their misery. She just looks at them, but gives us a pretty good acid trip. It's really wild, very good scene, worth watching a few times. Right, a lot of this stuff is really worth. I rewatched the action scene again, which was so good before I came on. But I was like invigorated. I'm like, this is really good. So Ellie's just feeling amped, which is so weird because the more she breathed the juice in, it seemed like the more she was like in control and very like present, which could be a thing. It could be a thing. Because remember, Ellie has cordyceps in her brain, and that's what they were going to try to harvest. They established that. Okay. So Leon, you see Leon clearly labeled, hi, I'm Leon. And then Ellie goes around the corner. She finds like a switch, flips the switch, everything goes red, which was like, it was cool. So all the lighting was red in there. It was dark and red. And she's walking through the hallways, and it was very like demonic. It was very evil. Like the lighting was telling you the story, which I loved. The lighting was very low. The filter was very low. You could tell they put a filter on it, a red filter. And she comes up on Nora, who's like incapacitated, like breathing really heavy. She's up against a wall. She's clearly getting possessed by cordyceps. It's all inside of her body. She's wrapped. Okay, she's now gonna face a fate worse than death. So Ellie's. So then, I think it's interesting. Now I'm gonna tell you something that between the Abby character and Nora starts monologuing and basically taunting Ellie, like, "Fuck you. You know what? I'll tell you the truth. Your precious Joel is a killer. He killed everybody in the hunt." Then she wants to tell her the story. And we all think Ellie doesn't really know the story. So Bella Ramsey's killing it in this scene. She looks very sinister. Bella Ramsey did what I forget the name of the actress, and Nora did. They both did what the Abby character did not pull off. And that was one of my main criticisms. When she killed Joel, she wasn't living and embodying sinister. She was acting like she was reading lines, right, in her monologue. But Nora was owning the monologue, and she was talking a little bit too much for some of the situation, but it was going somewhere. And then Ellie was being very demonic back to her, like, "Oh really? Oh really? Okay." Like she looked like she's ready to kill you. I loved it. They were both. It was a great scene. I'm like standing up, staring at my TV. I'm like, "Wow, I'm in." Um, and then she tells. So Nora tells Ellie the secret. And Ellie goes, "There's a change, which is interesting." Almost like she's like, "Oh, that's all." And she's like, I know this." And Nora's like, "What?" Like her secret weapon. Now, basically, that was going to be Nora was going to be trying to hurt Ellie's feelings. I'm really not sure what the point of that is. Maybe stop her from killing her. But the whole thing is like red for death and evil and dark, and it's dope, right? Um, and then Nora puts two and two together and realizes, Ellie, you're fine in here. You're not coughing, you're not hacking, you're cool. Then she like goes, "Oh, you're the and Nora, that's the actress that plays Nora, not easy to pull this off, acting sick and still doing a monologue." And then she's like, "Wait a second, you're the immune girl?" And then now we learn that Ellie is a legendary person. She says, "You're real." She puts it together. Because Ellie's like not a problem, and they're just breathing that shit up. Very well acted, just really good acting between the two, good chemistry. And Ellie was really vicious, and Bella Ramsey's going to be vicious. So then, conveniently, there's some pipes right here, and you think so. Ellie puts her gun in, like, and you think because Ellie's drawing on her, then you think, okay, Ellie's just going to go, you know what, and have mercy and go, "You're dead anyway. I'm going to let you be a cordyceps on the wall. That'll teach you a lesson. No one's going to save you." And she could have done that. No one's saving her. Nora's done. All right. That would have been a fate worse than death. But instead, she goes, "Where's Abby? I want to know." So she's very fixated on, "I need to know where Abby is." And she grabs this pipe and starts torturing Nora by smashing her knees, I guess, or her leg, which again is very Joel, right? So she's giving her the Joel treatment, and you're assuming she's going to start beating her. She's going to beat her to death, or at least beat her almost to death and leave her to become a cordyceps, cause her tremendous pain like Joel. And so then it cuts. You think she hits her twice or something, very tremendous pain, cuts, goes black for a while. I'm like, okay, is this the end? I'm like, whoa. And then it cuts to a scene of Ellie in like a bed. And then they pan out, and she's like in her own, like a teenager bed, like she's cozy in a home. And then the door opens, her door, and they give you Pedro Pascal walks in. Joel walks in and goes, "Hey, kiddo," like this, like he's actually acting like Pedro, not like Joel. "Hey, kiddo," like himself. And then Ellie turns around and she's smiling. I think he said, how are you doing?" And she's like, "I'm good," or something. And then so that was a weird thing. So that was the end. And I'm not sure. It left me thinking. It was good writing. Now I feel like that was like what do you call it? A video game clip that they're throwing to the fans, but it worked. It worked, and I bet if I research it, they're going to be like, "Oh yeah, that's a scene for the fans." Well, it worked for me, and that's what I'm talking about. You can do that shit, but make it work. It was intriguing. So my thought was Ellie going out of body because she was doing this murder to Nora and like like connecting with the spirit of Joel and like having like, was this in her head? Like, was she tuning out and in another world, and in real life she's just doing this murder, right? Because that could happen. Or was the spirit of Joel like connecting with her and like, good job, you're killing my murderer? It was just interesting, right? It was a happy Joel. "Hey, kiddo." It was almost like if they were in heaven or something, right? Like afterlife stuff. Interesting. So maybe that's going to be something that keys to the future, maybe in the afterlife. Who knows? I can't speculate. So there you go. There's your recap. I gave it 4 stars. I'm so sorry my graphics crashed. I use, again, like, so this graphic that you're seeing on the screen, I can't get it off. And I had all these great graphics, but I'm using Rumble Studio, and sometimes Rumble Studio is just really buggy. and it's happened before, and here it goes again. So apologies. So, just to give you a quick recap, this went a long time, but it was a good one. I am very, very impressed with the second half. If the second half had been a whole episode, it's 5 stars, 4.5 at the minimum. This was a 3-star one for me only because 4 stars because the first half was the same boring stuff they did last week, which made me sick. But the second half of the episode was so badass that I can't not give this 4 stars, man. It's great. Like anybody watching this episode would be like, this is a really good episode because they tied up a lot of loose ends. They finally got us to the point. They did that spooky thing with Joel at the end. The cordyceps dudes in the warehouse is a really great scene. Jessie appearing is a great scene. They gave us a lot of Ellie being a tough girl, which is always good. Bella had a chance to do some physical action. She's good at it. They had a bloody scene. If you like the Seraphimites, you had it all. You had it all. Going back to my notes before this episode, all the doubts, the negativity I had are now gone, and that's a good thing. I'm feeling great. Where they have us now is, Ellie is down there. Who knows if Nora survives? I feel like they're going to continue the torture or whatever. They're my time job. That's what they do to us. Hopefully they don't go back to Jackson Hole and bore us with like what happened last week. I don't need that shit. Walking Dead did that a lot, which was one of the only failings of that show is they would take you to an episode after a really great cliffhanger. They would take you to an episode of somebody pointless and bore the fuck out of you and then bring you back 2 weeks later. And if you binged it, you could jump through it and it was a lot easier to like digest when you do it in this form when you're dropping it. I think Walking Dead would drop a whole season though. So yeah, it works if you're dropping a whole season because people can move around it, but not now. It really wasn't quite working for me the way that it didn't never quite work for me with Walking Dead. But if they do it like this, it's not going to work for me. I'm going to be disappointed because I'm super hyped at this point. So right now, if they bring us back, you've got Tommy in the mix, you got Jessie out there, Dina's injured. Who knows? She's losing blood. Who knows how that's going to be? You got the Seraphimite guys chasing. You've got obviously the WLF guys on the hunt. Everybody's riled up. And you got Ellie in this basement, Spore City, and she's torturing Nora. And you're having a feeling Abby has got to be in that building. You're having a feeling. We'll see what happens. But I don't know how many episodes are left, but episode 6 in a series is usually one kick-ass episode. That's kind of the way it works, especially when they've been putting us to sleep like they have. So at this point, I'm feeling good. So there you go, guys. There's your recap. I hope you enjoy it. I want to say thank you for watching my recaps. My numbers have been really good, really good. So thousands of views. So thank you on all my platforms. My graphics are frozen, so I can't give you my normal graphics. Sorry about that. Good thing it's not a mean graphic up there or cursing. But again, my name is Jason J. Daniel. This is my podcast, The Jason J. Daniel Show. You can check me out on YouTube, X, Snapchat, IG at Jason J. Daniel. I'm everywhere. I'm Real Jason J. Daniel on TikTok and Epic Film Talk. I have 2 accounts. On Epic Film Talk, obviously, I talk about this show. So if you're interested in that, and if you're interested in sports, I have thousands of followers on my sports TikTok. So I do that too. I do a lot of different subjects on my podcast. Tonight, I happen to be doing the recap. So every Sunday, I'm doing a recap of The Last of Us. Check it out. If you want to look at the archive, you can see all the last 4 episodes I've done. They are categorized on YouTube, and you can see it on Rumble and Facebook. Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, and X. And I would appreciate a follow. If you're watching this, give me a like or a retweet or a follow. A repost would be great. Or a subscription on YouTube or Rumble. Thanks, guys. And you have a fantastic day, fantastic night. And I can't put up my closing graphic, but what I can do for you is close on a musical note. Take care. Thanks for watching. And let's hope Nora gets tortured more. We can find out what happened next episode. We'll find out if Abby's there. Take care, guys.